Okay, hello Nasser.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good evening. We're joined on the line with Nasser Najjar. Nasser, so how are you feeling now that there's been this changeover?
I can't express my feelings. It's actually amazing. I thought that this day would never happen. But thank God, thank Allah it happened. And at last, after 471 days of massacre and a genocide, it finally happened, and it came with a very high price. For sure, it came with a lot of pain, for sure. But it happened. Thanks for everyone who participated in protesting and standing up for us as Palestinians. Thanks for everyone who, for all the events and the donations and the shouting and the writing and writing to our MPs and reaching out to city halls. All of that was fruitful. It felt like this day would never happen, but it actually did.
So, Nasser, we've seen many times before where there have been ceasefires, and then most of the time, I would say, the historical record will probably be true. Most of the time, the ceasefires have been broken by the Israeli side. Even this one, there were certain reports that it is the same ceasefire deal that was negotiated quite some number of months ago. There was the same one on the table. But given the record of Israel around stalling for ceasefires, around making it difficult, you are optimistic with this change with Mr. Orange in the White House?
Few things. First of all, like within a few hours of the ceasefire was announced, Smotrich came out and he said, "We'll wipe the smiles off your faces." That was his tweet. Soon, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he put a photo of a few Hamas fighters, and he's like, "We'll wipe you out soon. Don't worry." So with this rhetoric, it shows how much is the grudge within the Israeli government, and of course with the public figures over there. Now, with having Trump on side, and this might never happen if it wasn't for Trump, being at the White House. Not because he's in love with Palestinians, but also he wants to leave. He wants to leave a legacy that he's a peacemaker. His eyes on the Nobel Prize, like Peace Nobel Prize. And this will be really ironic, it's like that. This comes, like you believe that you're a liberal, and we have liberal leaders who are usually the ones who start the wars. On the other hand, you would have Trump doing everything to turn off the fires of the wars, which is like very strange and very. It's supposed to be the other way around, but unfortunately, our liberal leaders, and whether they were in the liberal government here, whether they were in the Democrats in the U.S., whether they are in the Green Party of Germany, or the Labours in the UK, all of them, they're just pro-war within the last 30 years, especially in the Middle East.
Right. So then what does this leave you with feeling at this point? I also saw a meme today that when Obama was inaugurated, there was also a ceasefire. So these things, to me at least, seemed quite orchestrated.
There will be no permanent ceasefire unless there's a real solution. And in my opinion, there are only three solutions to this whole matter, to this whole Palestine-Israel matter. There's either one state where it's not an apartheid state and everyone can have equal rights in the same piece of land. The other solution is two-state solution, where both parties and Palestinians and Israelis are living in two different parts of land. None of them are interacting in the other's affairs. And the third solution is and I'll be blunt and clear about it, one group ends the other. There's absolutely no other solutions. Those are the three that we have on table, and no matter how many times we try to look from different angles, and people are trying to think out of the box, this is what you will get. Simply because you do have a population that came from Europe and from America and settled in Palestine. Now, you're powerful, you do have the weapons, you do have the influence, and that's why you're there. So that's the situation in general. So I do not see any other solution other than the three we just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly been hearing a lot more about a one-state solution rather than a two, shifting over, I guess, about 8, 9, 10 years ago. We started hearing more and more about that. To me, that makes much more sense. What are your feelings?
It makes sense in a modern world. Like, let's be honest to ourselves. Like, we're in Canada right now. You're in Canada, you're in Congo, you're in anywhere in the world. People to travel, they marry each other from different races and ethnicities. Children, they play with each other. Yes, there might be social differences from here to there, but at the very end, everyone is equal under the Constitution. And the law. So it makes more sense. There will be difficulties. Like, for example, who's going to be on the currency? Like, whose photos are we going to put on currency, or on a postcard, or on what are we going to name the street names? Are it going to be Hebrew names? Are it going to be Arabic names? Who's going to be the heroes? And who's going to be heroes in the films that we're going to create? All of these are going to be questions that we're going to ask when it becomes a one-state solution. But the alternative is scary. The alternative is either that this cycle will keep on going, and as Palestinians we're going to pay the higher price, because it's hard to convince colonialists that they are wrong. It's hard to convince. If you look at the history of colonialism, European colonialism around the world, it takes a lot of blood and effort from those who've been colonized to convince the colonizer that you are hurting us, you are causing a damage to our communities and our lives and our people and our children. It's unfortunately, this is how it went through the whole history. So yeah, that's where we are right now. For this few days, it's at least, a relief for whoever stayed alive from that massacre that we haven't witnessed maybe since World War II. And let's lick our wounds, as they say. And we'll think about the solution later.
Yeah, very much true. A good respite. Nasser, I want to shift gears. I want you to also share with listeners what Pulse Media is and where they can get information on it.
So Pulse Media, it came as an idea to bring up, progressive matters, and the heart of it is going to be Palestine. It's a news agency that we are trying to create and spread awareness on several matters, such as the LGBT community rights, human rights, women's rights, Palestinian rights, and in general, it will start with shorts, then we'll start to create features, and going forward from there, we're going to create some sitcoms on Spotify, and at some point we will hopefully have audiences, and we're going to have like a talk show. But this will take time. So for now, we're starting with smaller productions where we're spreading reels, mainly something that's more political or it's related to social justices. And from there, we will grab as much audience. You can see it on if you type just Path Media on YouTube or on Instagram, Twitter. You're going to find us there.
And that's PATH.
PATH. As you know, Path to Liberation, Path to Freedom, Path to Human Rights.
That's awesome. And Nasser, one last thing is, again, let listeners know where they can get a hold of your book, please.
Yes, if you go on Amazon, it's called Daughters of Light. It brings up my experience as an aid worker and another 8 characters who lived and not met in Palestine, Gaza, and in Jerusalem, and even in Tel Aviv through my work over there. Of course, it's a fictional story. I don't want to, go in any trouble because of that. So it's, of course, it's a fictional story based on true events, and hopefully that you will enjoy the read, and it will increase knowledge towards Palestine and what's happening over there.
Nasser, we're going to have to let you go because we know that you also have a busy evening and that you're also in the middle of so many different things. And we appreciate the time that you take with our calls and bringing us up to date with your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You take care. Okay. Have a good evening. All right. And so we're still here on Coast Salish territories. We're at 100.5 FM. You can also find us streaming at www.coopradio.org. We are going to be coming right back at you very, very soon.